The wheels of the British economy are turning, but not fast enough. The country's economic output unexpectedly flatlined in February. Why? Ask people like this rivet manufacturer in the Midlands and you'll hear many reasons.
The inflation spike that we've all had to deal with, which has been challenging to say the least. We've then got our energy bill has now gone up from £5,000 a month to £16,000 a month, and all of the government support has gone for that now. Everybody who's on a low wage, which is great, they've all had an increase of 9%, but unfortunately companies have to pay for it.
The other cause for that weak growth? Strikes, which are now leaving a noticeable dent in Britain's gross domestic product. For Harriet, a teacher who's been on strike recently, the struggle is still ongoing.
The cost of living has massively affected me and my family. I've got 3 children, and 9, 8 and 3. And the cost of childcare, the cost of after-school club, the cost of food, warmth and clothing, it's all went up, and it's been an awful experience to have to struggle.
In Washington for the International Monetary Fund's spring meetings, the Chancellor seemed to show little flexibility.
The one thing we won't do, because it would be a terrible mistake, is to agree to an inflationary pay rise that means that we're still talking about inflation in a year's time. If we stick to the plan, we'll bring inflation down to below 3% this year, and then we'll put these pressures behind us. And I think that's what the British people want the government to do.
6 months ago, Kwasi Kwarteng came out of those doors and was forced to fly home to be fired. Jeremy Hunt, by contrast, had a much warmer welcome. But the problem is, they think that while pretty much every major economy in the world faces the same issues, weak growth, high inflation, high debt, in the UK, they are particularly bad. Still, the UK's challenges pale in comparison with the stuff they're really worried about here. Countries facing starvation and climate disasters, nations pulling back from each other, and perhaps even a new Cold War. The world is becoming more fragile. Ed Conway, Sky News in Washington.